today, great Barack Obama, the hero of the left, the hero of the Democratic Party, the man who gets up and speaks, is, oh my God, Black Jesus is in the house today, right? He goes and campaigns. This is the worst loss of his career, my opinion. This is what I think. Worst loss of his, I think the worst night of his life was November 5th, November 6th, midnight. Worst day of his career. Horrible. You're seeing right now speculation with him, Jennifer Aniston. His wife wasn't at the Jimmy Carter, funeral.
The tale of a leader promising the moon, but leaving shadows, is one of our era's biggest political illusions. Built on soaring speeches and media adoration, the image seemed rock solid, until reality struck. That's where Patrick Bet-David and J.D. Vance step in, ripping apart the glossy facade to reveal Barack Obama not as the flawless visionary he pitched, but as a master of branding over substance.
But think, you're Obama, okay? First go from the Obama's lens. Obamas are sitting there having to hear people compare Kamala to Obama. Right. Do you know what that does to Obama? Do you know Obama is sitting there saying, shut up, That's what Obama's saying internally, right?
First of all, I don't believe, whether you agree with me or disagree with me, whether you agree with Donald Trump or disagree with him, I don't believe in hectoring voters. I believe in persuading voters. Your support is not something I'm given or something I'm owed. It's something you got to go out there and work for. So one, I just don't like the tone of going in. I mean, look, the better question for Barack Obama or anybody to ask is not why black men. It's not how dare you not vote for Kamala Harris. It's maybe they're thinking about voting for Donald Trump because they're sick of being censored. They're sick of
The illusion of Obama's greatness hinged on presentation, not performance. Patrick Bet-David dives straight in, peeling back the glossy layer to show the so-called visionary ran the country like a TED Talk, long on words, short on delivery. He mesmerized with polished speeches, but his record's fine print reveals a different story. Prolonged wars, a shrinking middle class, and the political divisions he swore to mend turning into permanent rifts. It's the modern political bait and switch, sell hope, deliver bureaucracy, and cloak the lack of results in eloquence.
Like, go back to, you can do that. We don't have to agree politically. I still want to find a way for us to be able to hear each other out and disagree on policies, and I want to see them be together. I don't root for them to not make it. You want to see them make it. However, body language, these guys haven't been living together for a long time. When he's going and having breakfast with his girls and the wife is not there and he's going to funerals and traditional presidential, things that you have to be part of, and she's not there at Jimmy Carter's funeral. Maybe not Trump's, I get it, but Carter's.
J.D. Vance sharpens the attack, targeting Obama's self-crafted transformational image. He argues the only transformation was morphing the Democratic Party into a celebrity fan club, prioritizing style over substance. Obama's biggest one wasn't lasting reform, but a healthcare law so convoluted it became a decade-long political piñata. Instead of unity, he sparked the populist backlash still shaping America. Far from a savior, he fueled the chaos that followed.
I think the only thing the far left really responds to is power. The thing that they're actually going to be responsive to is the recognition that there are consequences on the other side. If they get off scot-free, if they're never investigated, if they're never prosecuted when they violated the law, then they're just going to come back and do the exact same thing again. And there are a few different ways, of course. So it's the big tech companies that were censoring conservatives. They've got to know it's not going to be allowed.
Bet-David digs into Obama's legacy obsession, exposing how his presidency was driven by a fear of being forgotten. Every move seemed calculated to build a personal monument. Staged photos, choreographed interviews, making it feel more Netflix production than administration. The irony? Over-scripting his greatness laid bare its shallowness. Behind the magazine covers and bestsellers, the progress scoreboard is strikingly thin.
She sounds like the way MAGA feels with Trump when he talks about Epstein. How upset they are at Trump about Epstein, The Democrats are upset at Obama because they're saying you're doing this. They're putting the responsibility on him, right? On the messaging queue. Adam, your thoughts on this when you see, what Whoopi, Obama.
Vance adds weight, calling out Obama's foreign policy blunders as disasters, not mere missteps. From Syria's red line flop to Libya's mishandling, he perfected leading from behind, leaving allies baffled and foes emboldened. The world saw through the rhetoric to a man more focused on preserving his brand than projecting strength. That weakness cost still haunts today's unstable globe. Patrick Bet-David tackles the cultural front. Touted as the cool modern president with Spotify playlists, celebrity cameos, and late-night skits, he overlooked ordinary Americans left behind. The cool factor made him a star, but not effective. Bet-David stresses the presidency is a results job, not a fashion show. By that yardstick, Obama looks less legend, more empty suit with slick marketing. J.D. Vance seizes the moment to highlight elitism poisoning his politics. Empathy talk felt like a stage for an applauding elite.
Visually, he's changed. I like to say visually as opposed to from the look standpoint, because of course looks don't matter anymore in politics. Looks don't matter. It doesn't make any difference, because we want to be politically correct, but they do matter. But he's changed. His look has changed actually quite a bit. I haven't seen him in a long time.
And by the way, Rob, I think that's even 4 years ago. I think it's even more than.
Yeah. Well, no, but the statement he just made was a couple of days ago, and that
it was a couple of days ago. And similar to the statement he made back in 2012 when he told business owners, "You didn't build that." Remember when he said that? I don't know if you remember that whole comment. I think this is the speech, Rob, if you want to play this.
You got a business. You didn't build that. Somebody else made that happen.
This becomes a pattern of.
Bet-David won't spare economics, dismantling the recovery myth. Obama's comeback ranked among the weakest, middle class stagnant, job growth sluggish, debt ballooning. The genius of his policies seems more luck and money printing than brilliance. While the press spun it as a win, paycheck-to-paycheck folks saw through it. Vance closes with hypocrisy. Obama decried division while thriving on it, leaving the nation more bitterly split despite his partisanship pleas.
I'm gonna saw the recent movie Leave the World Behind. Anybody saw that movie there? Oh, okay, yeah, all these. Am I watching a movie or is this a documentary, realistic thing? And then I'm seeing Mark Zuckerberg just spent $100 million building a house in Hawaii with a nuclear bunker because he knows that the rest of the world doesn't know about it. Talk about the timing. Oh, coincidentally, a week after that movie comes out, a new movie comes out. What's the name of that movie? Civil War. Leave the world behind. Our power grid in America hasn't been updated. 75% of it hasn't been updated in years. And you're kind of talking about that. Then you're pinning whites against black. There's a line in the movie that says, Dad, if something goes down, we can't trust these white people. I know that's something both you and Mom agree on. Why do you put that line in the movie, Barack? You were helping.
Bet-David strips the manufactured image, revealing the core. Obama was a performer, not a president. His strength was selling. Hope, change himself. But when cameras stopped and applause died, the pitch's emptiness emerged. His tenure was a branding masterclass, not results-driven. That's why his legacy, despite fanfare, feels more mirage than monument.
The Obama office responds to Trump's accusation of treason outrageous. Let me read this, Jenna Thomas Ellsworth. I'm coming to you first, so please be prepared with all your notes.
Ready.
Obama's office spokesperson, Patrick Rodenbush, great first name, rejected the office of the Director of National Intelligence. Reports claim that senior Obama administration officials orchestrated the Russia collusion hoax, stating, out of respect for the office of the presidency, our office does not normally dignify the constant nonsense and misinformation flowing out of this White House.
This isn't just tearing down a figure. It's bursting a long-peddled myth. Obama aimed to redefine history, but when the smoke clears, he's the politician who mastered presentation while botching leadership. Bet-David and Vance expose and eviscerate that reality. Sold as a suited revolution, the cool intellectual promising a golden era. His presidency stretched into 8 years of hype. They shred the glossy wrap, confirming critics' suspicions. Bipartisan healing became entrenched division. Economic renewal a sluggish recovery. Accountability lost in excuses.
The one thing I wanted to show is the following. So you know how you talked about Jerome Powell, what an easy job. You come once a month and he said, we're going to increase the rates.
Greatest job there
I
is.
think this is the one thing they don't talk about. So Barack Obama got elected November 4th. Okay, quantitative easing started November 26th.
Right.
And it stayed for 8 years until you got elected.
Right.
So if you look at that low, pretty much 0% interest rate,
Right.
and then you get elected, right? If you go to January 2016, Rob, for the audience to see that. And then from there, one by one, rates are going up. And then Biden comes in, goes back down to 0 to try to save the economy. And then, the rest is obviously history.
Right.
But do you think the average person knows, like, the impact of going to 0%? How much does that positively help the impact?
Obama's strength was presentation. But even that charm faded as voters tired of the loop script, a theater of inspiration hiding stagnation. Bet David attacks from another angle, exposing Obama's detachment as a commentator, not commander. Not in the trenches for progress, he narrated from the balcony. Bold moves demanded, he offered half steps. Healthcare reform, his crown jewel, became a bureaucratic labyrinth. Premiums spiked, promises vanished. Families faced higher costs, fewer options under historic banners. Foreign policy? No better. He posed as a global peacemaker, but results betrayed the brand.
I'm going to go to the next topic here, which is Adam's top topic, talking about Obama saying every man needs a gay friend. So Obama goes
Barack, call me, buddy. Call
on
me.
his wife's podcast, okay? And they're sitting there having this conversation, and it covered a lot of different things. Right off the bat, they talked about the divorce. Hey, aren't we supposed to be getting a divorce and all this stuff? Just tell me if this seems like they woke up together in the same bed this morning, the last week.
Libya collapsed post-intervention. Syria turned into a humanitarian crisis, and the red line dissolved into diplomatic haze. His administration mastered seeming decisive in rhetoric, while paralyzed in action. Bet David calls it paralysis, masked as wisdom. Vance digs into hypocrisy. Obama promised to lift working-class communities, but catered to elite circles, pouring passion into media, celebrity nods, and academia. Instead of championing the working poor or unresolved crises, he slipped into cultural celebrity.
The last point I want to make is, I got to say, and shocker, newsflash here, I've defended Kamala Harris once, I'm about to defend Barack Obama once. So set to the side the hectoring and the tone of Obama when he went in and talking about black voters, like whatever. Obviously, I just criticized that. You know what I was watching him talk? You know what I thought to myself is, agree or disagree, and obviously I disagreed with about 99% of what he did when he was in office. He had substance, and Kamala Harris.
Netflix deals, memoir tours, and staged appearances defined a man curating a brand over leading. The irony's harsh. He warned against celebrity politics, then became its poster child, profiting from the stagecraft he once criticized. Vance mocks the promise outcome gap, transparency pledged. Yet IRS targeting and Benghazi stonewalling emerged. Unity promised, but polarization deepened, fueling the populist backlash he opposed. Far from healing division, he accelerated it, soothing with words while stoking distrust. Bet David targets the economic rhetoric's emptiness. Fairness preached, but Wall Street recovered, elites thrived, stocks boomed, while households stagnated.
Banks, the president is really preoccupied with this, and rightfully so. And of course, you've got to pay the lawfare back in kind. You've got to say to the Comeys and the Brennans of the world, of course, you got to follow the law. You can only prosecute people when they actually broke the law, but we know that a lot of people broke the law in the last administration, and they've got to face real justice, not just words, not just getting hauled before a committee in Capitol Hill. People broke the law.
Banks were saved, elites prospered, the market soared. But average homes saw stagnation. Hope and change didn't reach kitchen tables. The gap widened between speech glamorized and paycheck-lived America. Vance mocks Obama's legacy fixation, less concerned with real-world impact, more with history's wording. But history doesn't lie. A decade on, Obamacare's divisive. Foreign crises breed distrust. Unity's a shattered dream. The transformative leader myth lingers only in curated narratives of academia and media elites confusing eloquence with impact. Bet David dismantles this, framing success as perception, not results. Ultimately, Bet David and Vance don't just strip the polish. They expose a hollow core mistaking applause for achievement, leaving frustration, not transformation.